something like that, you know what I mean? But I don't know, it's also just to talk shit, kind of like get shit out there, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of two things. Like I said,
contractors talk shit
all the time.
I don't think I've ever met a contractor that talks shit.
Every single one does. But anyways, yeah, introduce yourself, your name, what you do, everything, you know, any credentials that are worth mentioning.
Well, it's funny. I'm actually, my name is RJ, Ryan Gozinsky-Irwin. I'm a general contractor in Oakland, California, in the East Bay here in the Bay Area. I'm a general contractor. I'm also a realtor. And right now, my career has focused me more towards the general construction side of things. So doing less flips and more projects for homeowners. It's been, it's been really fun.
And then I would say, how did you get your start doing stuff like that, doing the trades? How'd you come up in this?
This story is actually so ironic because we're probably like stone throws away from a lot of stuff. Uh-huh. So the project that we're actually sitting in right now, this is in Mira Loma in San Francisco, right near City College of San Francisco, where I got my AA in culinary hospitality. So nothing the fuck to do with construction. And there's definitely, I'll take that back. There was definitely aspects to it. However, my focus was very much so around cooking at that point.
You want to be a chef, like high-end chef and stuff like that.
Exactly. Okay. So
gotcha.
Did not do super well in college. In high school. So that
like kind
most
of us.
Yeah, that was kind of like, par for the course, right? Like did not give a fuck about just like hella academic shit. I'm just like, bro, like you guys are sweating my balls for what? Like I was very much but creative, like art classes. I was the only person to create my own independent art class in high school. Other people did like AP art and it was extremely rigorous and timelines and deadlines and all that shit. And I was like, nah, fuck all that. Like, so I connected with one teacher and she sponsored me to have my own art class, which was super fun. And then, the only school I applied to was fucking SF State.
Gotcha.
Never heard back from them.
Because you grew up in the area.
Yeah. Never heard back from them. So I have no idea like what happened there. And
your application got lost in the mail or something,
So did not have the grades to go to UC Santa Cruz because at that time I was a lot more also environmental sciences focused and a lot of the greenwashing in the Bay Area, which is
I was going to say cool. What a surprise being interested
go
in,
fucking figure, right, in the Bay Area. So then ended up going to City College of San Francisco because career day, this guy I was friends with in high school, his mom was not anymore. She was the executive chef at Boulevard in San Francisco. She's now chef owner of Prospect, sister restaurant of theirs, and had the opportunity after I got suspended with him and my brother for smoking weed before school to then start like staging and working in their restaurant, which is cool. So high school, I was working in a Michelin ranked restaurant in San Francisco and getting exposed to all of that. Ended up then checking out Le Cordon Bleu. Didn't end up going to school there. And then the chef de cuisine at Boulevard at the time, Robbie Kapoor, he was like, bro, if you're going to fucking spend $70,000 on that school, like you might as well just give me that money. Give me the fucking money. I'll teach you everything you know. Right. So he's like, go to City College. And I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up graduating high school, went to City College, got my A in culinary hospitality. During that time, I'm learning about the Charlie Trotters, the Thomas Kellers. I mean, you're up in that fucking neighborhood up in the North Bay. And I thought like, wow, these people are doing amazing philanthropic work after establishing their reputation in the culinary world. And I started learning more about food deserts at that time and had no idea the kind of like discrepancy in food access and availability in the Bay Area and in Oakland in particular. Like I grew up very afforded.
I could say something to that because I grew up in Marin County, but I own in Vallejo now. and the food difference. I shop in Marin County for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the quality of food and everything is way better than Vallejo.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, like,
fortunately,
I grew up before it, white in Oakland, and did not have that same, like, adversity.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have that. And so I was very ignorant in regards to what other peers, what other colleagues, what other neighbors were going through. And once I was in culinary, I started learning about all of that. So then I started a nonprofit called OOG, Original Organic Gardener, because I saw the biggest challenge also in this like food disparity.
You know, it's funny. I know you now as RJ, but I swear I saw that in the past. The OG Gardener thing.
Yeah.
I swear I've seen that in the past.
Well, because for me, it was like branding. So I looked at like what Alice Juarez is doing, and I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, you got that going on, not to knock what she's doing. Shape and Ease. It's just like, your shit is so fucking dry. Like, the hood does not fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, you're not trendy, you're not cool.
So you kind of get the
this
vibe.
shit ain't making it on World Star. Like, bro, you go to any of these fucking middle schools, you're getting trolled.
Yeah.
Hard.
I guess.
So I saw that as like the way to solve for me is just like, okay, how I can start getting more youth inclined, because it's fast. They rather be talking about girls and getting money.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, come on,
that's the Bay Area culture.
Bro, what the fuck? So I was like, all right, you have to make it cool. So started looking at it from a marketing perspective, from a branding perspective, and then that inevitably led me into, you know, needing also the garden beds at that point. So that was my first time getting a 5-piece.
So you start like building stuff.
That was my first 5-piece Ryobi. Shout out Ryobi. We all started on Ryobi Black and Decker. You know what I'm saying? If you start off on the wall, you got an unfair advantage on all of us. You know what I'm saying?
I started with Makita. Yeah.
Damn. You see what I'm saying? So it's funny.
Marin boy though, right? High end.
we just got done with an event, and we were talking shit because like some of the guys, I'm not gonna drop any names, like some of the guys definitely came into the trades. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having like generations in front of you that have kind of like led the way for the trades, and you're kind of going into that industry. But you know, I didn't. My dad wasn't in the trades, so I didn't. I had to seek out the mentors. Yeah, and yeah, we couldn't afford that shit. Like, you know, so that was fun. And our first garden build out was an adaptation from Urban Automa in Berkeley. They were a cool like collective out there. They were doing above. So I think most likely because they ended up developing that site, they knew that, you know, this was only a temporary time that we were going to be here in this space. So they did above ground system. Theirs was like, they used pallets and chicken wire and fabricated it in a way so they created their own like containers on top of pallets, which is super dope because you could put forklifts underneath it and move around the whole garden and as you needed to for whatever you're trying to accommodate. So we did a similar style at Reach Academy on 98th and Bancroft. So we were right in the middle of the shit. And
that's what I was gonna say. 98th, yeah, exactly.
And that was also Reach was a great because O'Dowd, where I went to high school, had a partnership with them for the, you know, outreach and kind of like the community service work that they made the juniors and seniors do. So was trying to also leverage my connections there to get some support. And that's when I met my first mentor in the
support. You mean by free labor?
Yes. Code everything.
They gotta learn. They gotta learn though. Exactly.
High school kids. So got my another mentor, Dwayne Akins, Wheelo. They're doing really well right now, nonprofit. So they were our first sponsor as a nonprofit while we were working on getting our 501c3 status. Got our 501c3 status. Shit ended up hitting the fan at that school. Just difference in
just how to do it and get it done.
Political between us and the administration.
I know what you mean.
And it's, you know, and being young. So I was at least 18, 19 at the time, easily.
Yeah, so you're still just getting out of being a kid.
Fucking pup, you know, wet behind the ears, all the classic sayings. And did not, like, at that point, the grant writing world, the fundraising world, the business world was all extremely new. All I knew was, like, I'm making money at, where was I fucking cooking at the time? Because, so I had that going. So I'm cooking at, so I graduated State College. I'm back to cooking at Boulevard. I went back there for my first job, paid job. And then I remember this one server, he was like, "Oh, honey, if you're not making $100,000, you're not doing your job." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." And this is like 2010, 11. So I was like, "Oh, fuck," because the cooks are getting paid like at that time. Like 30,
I know bartenders who bring in what I bring in as a contractor. It's like the restaurant industry
working part-time
can make money.
Well, I mean, bro, you're selling $10,000 bottles and they weren't breaking off the tips in the back.
Yeah.
So not trying to throw any shade on the organization. I'm sure things have changed.
But still,
the restaurant industry has definitely improved in that regard. So left and still had so we had the nonprofit going, had that going. It was just building like beds. We were actually trying to, me and another mentor of mine, Harold, we were fabricating a old 76 Chevy step van that we were trying to turn into like a mobile classroom to be able to like start going on the job sites or start going onto school campuses and being able to bring the garden to the schools that couldn't, have the programming or have everything. So we were just trying to make it more accessible, right? Yeah. And make it cool. And then we started gardening we started gardening at Elmhurst United Methodist, which is now a property that one of my homeboys is trying to buy. And we started, doing a lot of stuff there. That was cool. It was it's not Episcopalian. What the fuck was it? It was a Methodist church. So there was a little bit of, you're not dealing with the bureaucracy of a school, but there's still like
church members and everything. Yeah.
There was a little bit more support and a little bit more access, a little bit less layers to get through. And then eventually that was an older congregation. So we built out a beautiful same thing, built all the garden beds, and then got these fucking Samoan framers to fucking knock out like this fucking really dope framing for a greenhouse and everything like that. So we're like just trying to knock all that down. And at the same time, I also helped start up a bagel shop in Jack London. That also had construction in it. We were in Jack London.
Getting exposed to the commercial side.
Yeah, so that was that one was right around the corner from Jack London Theater, Authentic Bagel Company. 3 fucking spots. So we were in the center. There's Cafe Lizzie on our left, and then there's a vacant pharmacy on our right. We did our first Kickstarter to expand because we were doing wholesale and retail 7 days a week. So we'd be making I forget how many bagels we were making maybe at that time, maybe 800 to 1,500, something like that.
And what's that at night?
No, so that was basically a 24-hour business, 7 days a week. Because we were doing wholesale and retail. So we'd open up for retail as like a sandwich shop.
Okay.
7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then 3 p.m. we use that same space to do production.
Okay, gotcha.
So then we ended up taking over the space next door, but that was first commercial demo, breaking the wall between the 2 units. Bam, now we got a shit ton more space. Sweet. And we did that was our build out to kind of give the guests a better experience for an actual restaurant, to sit down. Cause before it was just fucking grab and go. So that was again, another where could we save money? Going through the contractor, having our guys on payroll. Okay, it's slow right now. No one's coming to the shop. Have our guys painting. I mean, we're already paying them fucking hourly. So
yeah.
That was kind of beginning steps project management for construction.
And that's why all those commercial spaces look so bad.
Yes. Because it's
commercial contractors think they're God and stuff, and then I go in and I start showing them grout lines and everything,
Yeah, it's super funny. What's funny is the craftsmanship in Oregon was a bit better than California. I will say that.
Commercial wise? Yeah, gotcha. Same with Arizona when I went to Arizona, but there's a lot more commercial work. A lot more guys are commercial guys.
And then, all right, so then we left. So then it became to the point where it's just I was working as an owner. I was gunning for ownership. And at a point, I didn't have that on paper.
Yeah.
So I had to make the decision, I'm not being paid like a manager. I don't have the ownership like an owner. And I'm just hey, at this point, I got to go. And this was probably at least 3 to 4 years. And left also because I had somebody that was wanting me to do construction with them. They ended up, I left to go work with them. They were full of shit. And then I just went off and started doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So just doing my own thing, the kind of like just picking up the jobs where I could, a lot of the handyman jobs and doing that.
I know what you mean. Just starting out with the little shit and the crappy clients and fixing sinks and yeah, exactly.
So just getting that done. And then next kind of like, phase was definitely like this last like flipping phase. And that was, I got a partner, with that one and we just were buying properties and fixing and flipping them.
So you actually went from handyman stuff and then moved into flips with your buddy.
Yeah.
So you took a big jump.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like, definitely a learning curve. At the same time, like I enjoy, challenges. And
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's cool. Like I've already been, also with Harold at that point, at one point, like we flipped his whole house, or we flipped two. We did his now wife's condo. That was very light, all cosmetic. His house, we bought it. And this is when I was still working at the bagel shop too. We stripped that whole thing down and opened up walls and redid everything there. So I'd already, I already know how all this works. Skill set quality has improved since.
I know it. Yeah, well, same with me.
We've learned more about like using staples when we fucking do electrical, right? As opposed to just having like a rat's nest underneath the house. So then got into flipping, and then that kind of escalated relatively fast. And
when did you really what year did you really start getting into the flipping? Like during pandemic or before pandemic? Where was your position?
Must have been like 2023.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, 2023.
So yeah, it moves fast.
Yeah, well, we went from we had one property, self-managing all the subs, picked up a second property, self-managing all the subs, picked up a third property with a partner that was a contractor. So they were supposed to be doing the work, but I still project managed a lot of the design and what was going on there. Picked up a fourth property, self-managing all the subs, picked up a fifth property, self-managing the subs. And also when I say self-managing the subs, this is like all the lead up, design, city engineer, architect,
dealing with the permits.
Exactly. Like engineering, figuring out logistics. Sixth property we got burned on, didn't get that one. There was another one that we picked up there. That one took a while because we were trying to like hold it, and then we decided not to. We had to sell it because we ended up taking a loss. Like that eventually caught up to us, and that one's still going right now. And then the last property we picked up was January 2024. That one's about to be done. So it's just being like managing multiple projects pretty much at this scale. So full guts around, anywhere between 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. It's kind of like been my appetite and looking to scale from there.
Yeah. So so pretty much talk about what you want to start doing in the future. I mean, you're kind of in the same boat with me. Maybe not necessarily on scale. I want to get more into the architectural stuff. I don't really necessarily care how big the job is. Because this is where I got my start in the city. I was doing retrofits. So doing from 2014 to 2020, that's all I did. So I was coming here every day and then like doing 3-story buildings. And for me, I got fucking tired of the big shit. You know what I mean?
Retrofits, are you guys
all the seismic retrofits? So
are you guys digging out and doing we
did all the foundations, all the steel frames, the shear walls, hold downs, every goddamn thing, But for the big apartment buildings, and for me, I got tired of it, and that's why I do small stuff now because small new construction.
Were you working for a company at that time? Or
yeah, that's how I got my license. I worked for my at that time kind of partner, and he was young, starting, had a kind of a bad crew, and so I made a deal with him to work on his crew and then get signed off. And it just happened to line up with the pandemic perfectly.
Nice.
So it went from there. But that's when
did you decide you needed to kind of break off from that?
Just because that was my plan all along. You know what I mean? To go find my own thing. Whether I was going to stay in retrofits or not was up in the air. But I knew that I was just going to get my license and then go do my own thing.
Yeah, but was there a certain job that was presented to you and you're like, fuck, this is the perfect time to kind of
No, the pandemic hit. I was probably going to stick around with him until, like he was done or something. But the pandemic hit, he decided to pretty much take a break for a few months and not deal with it.
Nice.
We had a whole like it was all on stilts on Hampshire at the time. And that guy lost his fucking couldn't pay his loan back. That went to foreclosure. It was like a whole fucking thing. So that's pretty much what happened. And then I just happened to get, and this I'll have to do a whole video on by myself. I got offered to go to Texas to go build this house. Okay. Right when that happened, right when I was dealing with my license, and I did go out there, and to be honest, I fucked it up. I fucked that project up. That was like my biggest, and it was right before I got my license, and that was like my biggest slap in my face for me on like being a good contractor and not fucking people over. Because I ended up losing this guy a lot of fucking money, and it wasn't my intention, but I was young, I bit off more than I could chew, and I was not ready for it, and luckily I came out the way I came out. But that'll have to be a whole other fucking video. But that was pretty much what split, and then I came back here and did my own thing and just built it up from there, man. And then I finally got in with the prefab shed people, and then
nice.
So now it's like all ADUs all the time.
So for the prefab, the primary focus is like you're responsible for site prep.
Exactly. Foundations, yep. All that stuff. Utilities. Yeah, 100%.
Are you taking on the responsibility for city interfacing, or does that come from the company that
they can choose to either go through me or go through the company or do it themselves?
Yeah,
but it's up to them. But usually I end up doing it. So.
Well, because you're interfacing more with the inspector.
And I have all the, again, to pull the permit, you need the business license and everything. And it's like all my business licenses from Santa Cruz all the way up to Sonoma. So I have every county and city pretty much. So I'm pretty much ready to go. And then if not, like if I have like a random one city, it's like $30 and, it's there in 3 days. So that's about it. But so your future, you want to go bigger and everything and nicer.
Well, I mean,
talk about again, that. You know what I mean? Like, how do you expect to get there and stuff?
It's you think that's what you want until you get it, and you might be like,
I know
what I want. But that's the beautiful thing about having like aspirations and desires is you have to be shooting for the stars and then either make a decision when you're there. You're like, fuck, this is dope.
Yeah,
I want to go further, or you can be like, fuck this is terrible. I want to go back there.
Yeah.
All right. So definitely. So for me right now, it'd be really defining it on what's our avatar, what's the kind of clients we're after, what's the type of projects that we're after. Yeah. I have a lot of conversations with people all the time in terms of like, pick up those easy jobs or whatnot. And just like quick money. It's just like, that's, I understand the value in that. That is not what I want to do. That's not what my talents lie. Like it's to like create dope shit and make sure that it happens. Like being a facilitator, making it happen.
Yeah, correct.
So right now it'd be ideally for me in the next couple of years is going to be expanding into other markets. So we're working into like tapping into like LA market. Mm-hmm. There's clearly a lot of demand there, especially after all the fires.
Yep.
Miami market, just because I really enjoy the vibes in Miami. All about vibes, right? So I like, even though my beach body isn't fit, what I'm saying? I can appreciate all the other beach bodies that we got out there.
Yeah.
Beach babes. And it's just a whole different scene. Like there's obviously a ton of fucking Latins here, but there's just like a whole nother Latin culture out there.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Puerto Ricans,
more
and
central
like,
and South America,
exactly.
Right? Like here is just more limited to Mexicans, Guatemalans, and fucking Salvadorians.
That's what I was going to say.
Maybe some Hondurans, but there's no fucking Jamaican.
Those are the only 4 groups I've ever worked with.
I challenge y'all motherfuckers, where you get good jerk chicken out here? You can't. Bacalhau is
but you can get great Mexican food, and you go to any other state, any other part of the country, you throw up. Dude, I know. Yeah.
But you can't get like Haitian food like that readily available out here. It's very much special, very like sought after specialty. East Oakland, you throw a motherfucking rock, you're gonna hit a taco truck.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, we got tacos for days out here.
Yeah.
So that being said, getting out to more of those markets, doing larger custom projects. Recently, also, I've been super interested in landscaping, which is probably pretty fucking obvious as to why. Like, my background is making garden beds. Right? So being outside is just so much more fun. Content is super fun outside too. You get to fly the drone a lot more. And it's really interesting, like transforming spaces like that and creating extensions for the house, for families through, landscaping in the backyard, hardscaping. So I've been diving in a lot more into that. I'd love to take on a lot more projects like that. It's just, not super dope. The same time, like resorts, Vegas, Miami, right? Like more budget for doing like this wild shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and I guess that's where I would take a bigger job if it was something of that nature. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but I want my work to be seen by more people and like used by the public more. Yeah. So that's when I'd take on like a big job. Because like I said, right now I just got my thing. It's fucking rolling. It's easy and stuff, but I still always like have the opportunity out. Like if somebody called me tomorrow for like a brutalist ADU, full concrete or something like that, I'd do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's interesting you say resorts. I never really thought of it like going into that though. But one guy I follow, he's in the East Coast. The East Coast is huge on the hardscape and everything. Yeah. And he did Southampton Beach Club, so it's like I could just imagine how much he pulled in on that one. Yeah. So I'd like to have that payday.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get out, like work to get my operations more out of the Bay Area. Right now, I'm still just taking advantage of like developing the operations. I mean, shit, when you show up today, like I was on a call with two of my team members, right, at office. Like I don't have employees. I'm not self-performing. I have my subs. Yeah. So that allows me to spend my time focusing on the sales, marketing, and the management side of things.
Yes. Being a business owner.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like trying to have more volume to justify bringing on more PMs. Yeah. And being able to enroll them in systems, have the clients like we were talking about, the clients that can afford for us to have like those higher caliber subs that also are wanting to push the limits. I mean, I don't know if you follow Calco, like me and Sal were talking about this at the Link Academy in Bend this past week in regards to what really drives us and just the fact that like we're just super interested in getting these projects that are like super creative or are high demand, that are like his guys. They can do, slabs and foundations. However, it's not like the same level of excitement of like the unknown and pushing yourself. Yeah. And someone else I was talking to, where it's kind of like in their space, they have to fucking push that envelope. Otherwise they're going to get passed. Right. So it's kind of like a little bit of like,
do you know what space they're in?
Oh, they're in a hardscaping space.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So they gotta set themselves forward by the crazy designs they do, or like the crazy work they can do. Exactly.
They're doing cantilever.
Because everybody and their brother does pavers.
Yeah.
But
what are you doing in terms of like the designs, the complexity, or the materials, or the scale, right? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like I was talking to Ryan Simmons about this today too. Ryan Simmons Landscaping, and the same thing, like his guys are like, dude, what the fuck? Why are we doing like a different style to this? Like, why are we not doing the same thing again and again? Because for some of your employees, they're just kind of like, fuck, I gotta stay on my toes and learn something. Like I want the easy money. And it's like, for us, like,
see, and that's
looking for the easy money.
Not to interrupt you, but that's why I moved into the prefab space, because it's a lot easier to train guys. It's a lot easier to onboard guys, because right now there's a huge gap in trade knowledge. Talent. Talent. And I'm crazy enough to just try it and figure it out. Yeah. So that's why I'm where I am. But, like I had this copper roof, this soldering, and I even said it in a video, like the only guy who could teach me is like an older guy, right? I just happened to find an older guy and like learn some stuff from him. But that guy's going to die in 10, 15 years. I'll never find him again. No. And who's going to take his knowledge and all that stuff? So that's why, like you said, everybody's getting in this production mindset, this manufacturing mindset, and everything's looking cookie cutter more and more, even on the high end side.
Yeah.
And I like that you said
look
that.
At commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at commercial buildings too, and they're doing it for efficiencies.
Oh yeah.
So
I was at a park the other day. The Safeway looked like just like the condos that were built.
Oh yeah.
It's like, do you want to live in condos that look like Safeway?
I mean,
it's like,
it's
come
just
on.
like, I mean, you have that in certain areas too, and in terms of, you know, where do you find, again, where do you, like Too Short said, get in where you fit in. So do you want, so even in your space where you're like, look, we might be looking for like more consistency with it. There's going to be nuances that we're going to have to troubleshoot as well too. Are you also looking at it from the perspective of being able to kind of like have that huddle after you're done and do the SOPs around it? Right. So
what do you mean by SOPs? Just explain that to everybody. Yeah.
So systems of procedure.
Okay.
So are you looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, we just did this copper roof. What's everything that I learned about this copper roof? Let me document it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I do. Yeah.
You might like, that might be like a once off every once in a while. For me, it's just like all these little details. Like, you know, we want the guys to swoop the electrical and some of it's code. That was a really bad example.
No, but some of it just is to the eye too. I commented on this on Instagram the other day from a school, and like they were teaching the guys wiring and stuff. And I go, clean up the wiring, get more staples in there and stuff. And they're like, oh, they're just school kids. I'm like, I don't care. You want to learn,
but that's
you can only do well if you practice well.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta make it look like somebody's gonna look at it for the rest of their life, even though it's behind a wall.
And why fucking why set the bar fucking low?
Correct.
What are you accomplishing setting the fucking bar low? Just so you can fucking say that everyone passed?
Yeah.
The fuck's up with that?
Well, and that's how we got the education system we got.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like incompetence and you're just
half-assing it.
Well, you're just satisfied with the bare minimum.
Correct.
Which is like, for Pete's sake, what the fuck? Like, bro, like there's no, because what we do is fucking hard. There's in construction, like most of my jobs right now are at least starting $500,000.
Yeah.
And I want to do more than that. A lot of guys struggle with jobs that are like, guys or girls struggle with jobs that are, you know, 20 to 50K, and they are completely scared of fucking touching a $500,000 job.
Yeah, just me putting in a AC unit's at $14,000. So it's like, when you're scared of jobs like that, you're not going to grow much.
Well, you're
it's like a 12 by 20 for me is at like $100,000 just starting. That's a small ass thing. No plumbing, nothing.
Well, just and also, I mean, depending, but usually once you're at kind of like those higher dollar amounts, there's most likely a bare minimum for the amount of shit that you have to coordinate.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Like there is, like in this job right here that we're in right now, there are so many fucking details. Some of it I can't standardize, like this detail for the recessed lights. Like that's cool. It's kind of like the copper, right? Like, it's more like a one-off. You may or may not, you might remember it. There's other details, maybe like the niches for us or something like that are more likely to be repeated.
Yeah.
But there's so much fucking coordination. Like last night we were working on our project for Danville, starting up all custom cabinets in the kitchen. And we were probably talking about the kitchen island, one side cabinets, faces for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
An hour and a half of just designing like what's going where. Okay, well actually, you know, we might have to reduce the toe kick size to accommodate because we're putting a microwave oven that's 16 inches, which is, if your cabinets are probably like the center line is going to be 15-15 for the purchase space or the actual space you have for like door faces. Okay, so this is 16-14 now, and the rest are 15-15. That line's off. Okay, so if we make the rest down here, okay, now we need to drop the toe kick a little bit more. So it's a little bit more exaggerated and it's closer to being like 16-16, but 15-16 is within our tolerance. And it's just like, okay, well that drawer is going to be 48 inches and 48 inches is going to be a wobble when you pull it out. So let's not do that on the pots and pans. Let's do that for the knife and gadgets drawer. And we've got to make sure to spec in our RFIs to speak with the custom cabinet builder, shout out Martinez. put on heavier hardware for that drawer specifically, like all those fucking details, like looking at, okay, we're gonna have a corner of the kitchen that's gonna have 2 lift platforms for KitchenAid KitchenAid and a rice cooker, and it's just like, okay, well, we have to have a dividing wall in between. Okay, if we have mirroring lifts, how the fuck are those screws going to go in without hitting each other in the heads? Okay, so those ones in the center on the same shared fucking divider wall, we might have to use through bolts and fucking tighten those down, as opposed to using fucking, you know, just some sort of screw. Is just like all those fucking details. Which until you start getting to those projects, like you're not gonna nearly have that same.
Which is a lot more detail than most regular people do when they're doing their kitchen remodel. They'll rough measure it, and then you got your spacer.
Oh, then you're gonna go prefabricated cabinets and and stuff.
Exactly.
So the thing is, like, it just depends on what you want, right? Like, are you looking at yourself and your time for what is my highest ROI? Are you looking at yourself and your time for, like, this isn't my highest ROI right now, however, I'm banking on, like, the education and the content aspect?
Well, I think you're like me too, and you just want your name attached to good shit. I don't want my 100%. Name necessarily attached to cookie cutter stuff. 100%. My prefab sheds, you can argue, are a little cookie cutter. Yesterday. Don't get me wrong, but I do it because they're the modern look. They fit in with the Eichlers. They fit in with the Bay Area. Like, that's why I like them. So to me, it's not too bad, and there's enough customization into them. It's and
you can also get like some super dope.
But there's a market for it. It needs to get built. It's getting built. You know what I mean?
And then, so I had this conversation yesterday because it goes back to, again, like, my boy's like, oh, well, you need to have a division that's basically, you know, that super run of the mill, flip grade level. Bullshit. That's just printing money.
Yeah, fucking black trim, White House.
But I'm like, bro, like, I have to be so fucking far. My name has to be so fucking far removed from that, because I don't want people to have
you feel like Bernie Madoff.
Well, I don't want people to have my fucking name associated with anything less than badass motherfucker that was doing crazy ass shit. Like, that's the only thing I want people to associate with me. Like, oh yeah, and he did some flips that were like mediocre. Like, like, what the fuck? Like, that's just not, like.
You would rather fail doing something amazing.
Yeah, fail doing something fucking impossible.
I'm the same way, but like, dude, that guy fucked up, but you know what, dude? He was building the fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, try fucking doing this shit at this caliber, at this speed, at this, like, level of detail, this level of customization, and we can go through and this. Fuck it.
All right, back from our break. We're going to kind of wrap it up here, and then I'm going to have him do a tour of the project and everything so you guys can see. But here's my biggest question. Like I said in the beginning, I like your story because you came from the food world. Yeah. And a few people I've talked to have come from other worlds in the construction. What's your advice for people who want to come into this industry, whether that be design, actually swinging hammers, whatever, you know what I mean? What advice would you give them? Young guys, older guys, the whole spectrum, just go for it.
Spend your time doing something that you really like doing. So for me, I really like project management. I really like doing, like, all this complex stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think whether it's construction or just in general, like, just, you have one shot at life, so just be satisfied with what you're doing. And there's definitely times where I wish I was traveling more, and that's why I want to try and morph the business to give me more opportunities to travel. Yeah. I mean, that's super awesome. You know, you're flying out to destination locations and setting up stuff. So I would like that. However, it's hard because I fucking love doing this too. Right. Construction
is, and I'm trying to kind of do the same thing. I mean, I'm lucky that opportunity came up, and I'm always trying to travel. And I've done work in SoCal and stuff, but dude, it's tough to travel in construction, even when you're doing design or something like that. Like, my draftman is in Texas and stuff, you know, but dude, the traveling gets to you. And then also sometimes you got to bring tools. So you're actually having to drive and stuff, you know, so it's
fucking bit enough budget into your job to buy tools on site.
There you go. But so I know what you mean. It's tough, but I aspire to that too.
I was getting trolled last week because the only tool I really need is my laptop.
Well, you see the backpack I got, man. I mean, I've got everything in there. I need to run a business.
Yeah, exactly. That backpack. So I stay, you know, just have my briefcase, and that's essentially all that I need, because what I'm doing and the way I'm positioning, and there's so many different styles and ways to grow and to build a business. I mean, you can run multiple jobs at once, and then there's that level of headache that comes with it, or you can, stay on one job and go to the next and be an operator that maybe works side by side with their employees. And maybe that's a way for you to ensure like another level of quality, because you're not big on creating SOPs and systems and want to do that kind of like back end work. So it just depends on what you want to do. It's kind of hard to to give like a general way of like, this is how you should do it, and that's going to be very unique to like the individual and what their skill set is, right? I'm very much.
So your suggestion would just be like, find how you would fit into the industry and then go from there.
I mean, you have to figure out a lot of times it's figuring out what value you can bring. Like that's how I build a lot of relationships. So like I figure out what kind of value I can bring. Easiest one, right? Like I like a lot of people's stuff on social media just to like help them out, right? Yeah. This is an algorithm game. We're all small business owners. Like I don't have to spend a fucking copious amount of time with anybody, but at least me liking you guys' content, it ain't gonna hurt. Yeah. Shit.
Well, I got this.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I do these too. It's not gonna hurt to get stuff out there and talk to people. Yeah, 100%.
So it's just like figuring out how you can deliver value if you're looking for a mentor in the space. But going specific into the trades, there might be a fucking trade that you really like. I don't know, drywall, landscaping, welding, fucking plumbing. Like there's all sorts of different stuff. It depends. Like, are you trying to be in the trades? Are you trying to be a business owner? Like those are different conversations too.
I know what you mean.
Right. So it's just, are you trying to, what?
Yeah. Have that conversation with yourself first. Do I want to work for a guy and be in the trades, or do I want to actually own the business? Do I want to be more like him, or do you want to be more like me, actually swinging a hammer? Yeah. But again, one day you got to go to the office. You can't do it forever.
Swinging a hammer last week when I was getting trolled.
See, exactly. You never get out of it.
No, I was doing it. I was getting trolled by Sal. It took me like fucking 20 hits to drive a steak.
Oh, that steak. Yeah.
He was like, listen, 21 hits. He was like, fucking B-. I was like, oh. But yeah, I mean, that was me swinging a hammer. You see how small I am. Dude. I ended up finding a tape measure just laying on the ground there. It was probably somebody that was using it. So my bad for taking a tape measure. But I just took that tape measure like after day one and just fucking clipped it on. I was like, dude, I'm a fucking project manager. Like, I am not doing shit, motherfucker. My job is to fucking troll the shit out of you guys. Like, that's all I fucking do. Like, right here on this skylight, it was so funny. Like, so the guys framed it the other way. So it's a 2x3. Yeah. So I didn't want it to go the fucking other way. I wanted to match with all these, and the ringleader of the subs told him to fucking frame it the other way, and I was like, bro, no, because then also, not that it really matters, but we have to do 3 fucking ceiling joists on either side, and that's just like a detail that wasn't technically on the plan, so I don't want the fucking building inspector to just start fucking crying and shit. So I was like, don't fucking do that. And luckily they only had like maybe toenailed like one piece or something. It was barely framed up. I just came there with saws on and fucking cut that shit out. Yeah. I was like, fuck you, I'll do this shit. It took me maybe like 3-4 days to get one more fucking joist up in the fucking air and everything like that. Like running around doing a bunch of
saw you slamming on that thing.
I was like, eventually I was just like, you guys just gotta fucking do that. Like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, just fucking do it the way I told you to do it.
All right, we'll do a tour after this. But just plug all your socials and stuff like that.
Casa De RJ. CASADERJ. Instagram.
You got YouTube?
We're working on YouTube for long format content. Website, LinkedIn. I'm investing in LinkedIn also. All right, trying to find more of my clients. More working professionals, because that's who we're resonating with.
Gotcha.
Like, that's what we really kind of like dialed in on our back end for the office. Yeah.
All right, Julio. Well, go show me. Let's show them around and everything, and check out this project.